Cyrus has an awkward date with Iris, Buffy tries out for the basketball team, and Bex gets closure, all on this week's Andy Mack. Let's break it down right here on What Happened. How's it going, you lovely people? Lisa here, and welcome back to my recap show. So this week's Andy Mack is titled Friends Like These, and we get to see a different side of Amber, plus we meet a new bully who's like taking her place. Let's kick things off though with Buffy's storyline. Buffy and Marty are trying out for the boys' basketball team. Now Buffy is playing pretty well and the coach seems to be impressed, but there's one person who isn't, the team captain TJ, who was of course a real jerk. While Buffy thinks she did well at tryouts, she tells Cyrus and Andy she knows she's not going to make the team though because TJ doesn't like her. Well, it's a good thing that TJ doesn't make the roster for the team because Buffy does end up making the team, but unfortunately her pal Marty doesn't. Now he's pretty upset, but is still happy for Buffy and even tries to stand up for her when TJ tells Buffy she won't be on the team for long. For Cyrus, things seem happy between him and Iris, right? They get along so well and they even have this cute conversation over which is the best way to hold hands. Well, Iris invites Cyrus over the next night to watch a documentary and Cyrus gets excited, but he's really just kind of excited because he loves the documentary. When they're at Iris's, she tries to set the mood, like make it romantic by turning down the lights and lowering the volume on the TV and cuddling with Cyrus. He definitely seems more into this documentary though, and it's kind of awkward because he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing. Then we see Iris is waiting for a kiss and he gets so nervous that he just gives her this super quick awkward peck and apologizes for it being terrible. Iris sweetly tells him it's gonna get better, it's fine, and Cyrus says it won't though and leaves, leaving Iris sitting there pretty confused. The next day when Buffy asks how it went with Iris, well, Cyrus said they had their second kiss and it was bad. So what does that all mean for him? Buffy asks him what he felt, and he says that he felt like he'd rather be watching a snake eat like an elephant. Yeah, ouch. He then asks if he'll be okay, and Buffy sweetly says, "You already are." So Cyrus definitely is confused about his feelings for Jonah and for Iris, and while he does like Iris, it's totally kind of that best friend thing where they just are really, very similar and they love the same things, but he definitely does not have those romantic feelings for her. Instead, he just gets giddy when Jonah calls him cool, so we'll see how Cyrus ends up having to break this news to Iris. When it comes to Amber, she's kind of freaking Andy, Cyrus, and Buffy out because she's trying to be really nice to them. She even stops by to talk to Andy about the book she's reading and accidentally spoils it for Andy, and she waves to them through the windows, and it seems like she actually is trying to be a different person, trying to be a real friend. The trio, though, they have their other thoughts. They think that Amber is just trying to be nice to Andy to keep tabs on Jonah and maybe weasel her way back into his life and, take him back. They decide that Amber must just need closure of some sort and they don't want her to be their friend, so they even try a new hangout, which of course doesn't have good baby taters. When Jonah asks why they can't hang out at the Spoon anymore, Andy finally says she doesn't want to be friends with Amber because she doesn't trust her and doesn't understand why she's trying to be their friend in the first place. Jonah finally spills the beans that he's the one who told Amber to be friends with them because she's going through some really hard stuff and she could use some friends. When they ask what kind of stuff Amber's going through, Jonah keeps his promise to Amber and just says that, she could use some friends and I told her you were cool, but this whole friend thing is totally all of your guys' choice. Later on, Andy is shopping at the thrift store when she sees Amber and she hides. She notices that Amber is bringing clothes to sell, and so Andy thinks that something must be different because why would Amber sell her clothes at a thrift store, right? She goes to talk to Amber and Amber is like, "Oh, I hear you guys got a new hangout and all of this and you left probably because of her, you don't have to sit in my section," that kind of stuff. And Andy is like, "Oh, how'd you know?" And Amber lets it spill that Jonah told her because he's got some pretty loose lips unless you flat out tell him to not tell, like she did with her secret about her dad losing his job. Andy kind of seems to be coming around and sees this new side of Amber and sees that she actually seems pretty genuine, so she does something nice and she buys one of Amber's shirts, and it seems like a good baby step in the right direction. I think we're finally moving past Amber's mean girl stage, so please Amber, don't let me down here, stay nice. As far as Bex goes, we left last episode off with Andy finding the picture of the quote nobody in the Toaster Tarts box and thinking this guy is why Bex can't marry Bowie, possibly because Bex is still in love with that guy. Well, it actually turns out to be the opposite. Bex explains that she can't move on and she's tried to put that picture in the memory box with the rest of the ex-boyfriends, but she just can't, so she puts it in its own box. And Andy, using her new knowledge of closure and relationships and all that, thanks to the whole Amber situation, tells Bex she just needs to find closure. Bex later comes to Andy ready to get that closure and reveals that the guy in the photo is named Gabriel, and she's not still in love with him. In fact, he was actually a very toxic relationship, and she was so hurt by him that she's afraid he's the reason she won't be able to marry anyone. In fact, it seems like she's even still very much in love with Bowie, but that one relationship damaged her so much she's afraid to kind of open herself up again. Andy helps Bex out, and they get that closure by putting Gabriel's picture in the memory box and putting the old picture of Bex and Bowie out on display in the apartment on the nightstand. Alright, so that was a pretty easy recap, right? Nice, short, and sweet for a fun episode. And I think we all kind of knew Buffy was going to end up making the basketball team, but instead of facing off with Marty now, she's got this new foe in TJ. Cyrus is also definitely still struggling with his feelings for Jonah, and also, you know, what to do with Iris, and, you know, I think he's gonna have to explain it to her pretty soon. For Bex, it seems like she definitely still has feelings for Bowie, but will she go back after him, or is she still too hurt by this Gabriel guy? As for the next episode, we're going back in time, so let's check out the promo.
Next on Andy Mack.
I'm doing it! Stop! I don't know how! Cyrus!
Today's just a very hard day for me. Today's the day when
You left home.
So what actually happened?
You want to tell her? It's not my favorite story.
She should know.
No, what? What is it, Ham? We're in the middle of something.
I think you left something in the hallway by the coat rack.
I made you leave.
I can kind of see it all play out now. Andy's actually going to be upset and kind of carry guilt, blaming herself for Bex running away and leaving home. And I'm just hoping that it'll all be resolved in this one episode, and maybe it can finally help clear the air and repair Bex and Cece's relationship. We'll just have to wait and see. But now it is time for you to hit me up in the comments with your favorite parts of this episode, because this is one of my favorites.
You look like the new bench warmer.
Well, funny. You look...
What happened to your great bantering skills?
They're on vacation.
With your fashion sense.
Also, let me know what you think will happen next for Cyrus and Iris, and with Bex and Bowie. Then you can click right over here to see my recent interview with Sophia Wiley, who plays Buffy, about Cyrus's coming out scene, or my interview with Ariana Greenblatt about Bad Moms Christmas. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.